Hey everyone, so I made a couple updates recently and had a couple new additions to my turtle room this year. These are my Dalmatian Herman's tortoises, and they are actually in a new enclosure. I actually switched out 2 out of my 3 PVC enclosures, and I got a couple of Toad Ranch enclosures. I'd gotten one of their enclosures for my son's bearded dragon, and I really like their HD PV fronts that they have. So I also had it built on the side with their executive upgrade for that strength, because the problem I was having with this style PVC, this is not a Toad Ranch one, is that I was getting some bowing going on and I did not like the doors on this. So I took this bigger one that was on the bottom and put it on top. I just switched everything over this past weekend. So I actually had been drying out my substrate in anticipation of when they were arriving. This is just a pothos. I got a bunch of plants hanging up here. So I got a male box turtle in here. This is just in there, just like before, to keep the 2 males separate. They switch sides. So they both get heat lamp every other day. But humidity is good in here. As you can tell, the door is here, and it's actually pretty warm in here too, being on top. There's my other male. And then obviously when my wife's kiln, she does glass work, that thing runs, it kicks out a lot of heat. So it's actually pretty humid in this room altogether. So I'm gonna step back a little bit. And you can see that on the floor. I accidentally took a leaf off that pothos. So the bottom and the middle I had replaced. They're 6 feet wide. Long, I mean, 2 feet high and 2 feet deep. So I went with a little bit taller ones than I did before. With those 2 that I replaced were only 18 inches high. I like that the door is just so much easier to use on this. These frames are just awesome, and of course getting the background done on it really helps with the lighting, really brightens things up. I'll probably do this one at some point too. And these are in here just because my tank I was using stuff in. Now this is on the one side of the enclosure, and the door has been opened. It was close to 90% in here. And I did just switch that water out too, and of course as soon as I changed that water out, within 5 minutes the tortoise was in there. So in here I'm keeping, where she went. I know she's in here because it's just feeding. Got one little Florida box turtle hatchling I keep in here, doing awesome. It's one that I saved from this year, and this year I produced 14. And I had a lot more eggs than that too. And that was just, I really believe it was just switching over in enclosures. I'm going into a PVC enclosure. And then in here, I've got, just picked this one up recently. It's gonna be hiding in the, just woke him up there. Little baby spangler. I just picked that one up about a month ago as well. And I actually got another one earlier in the year. So I've been building my group out of those, and that's exactly how I started the other one out, just putting the little setup in another enclosure, and it stays at a good temperature. And then I keep this lid on it just to keep other turtles from getting it. And I know the tortoises are going to have absolutely no interest in trying to do anything into them, and that's why they're with them and not with like the box turtles. And down here I just open that door and I feel the humidity just pop out of there. A couple of my females there. There's 4 in here. I'm having trouble finding live plants to do in here because even with the old enclosure, I'd put plants in here and they'd knock pots over and then they'd trample them. I've done it before where I've buried it in the soil, but then I'm also digging around quite a bit looking for the eggs. And another thing too that I like with these enclosures, I like these Arcadia heat brackets. They give it a little bit of space in between the top and the ceramic heat bulb bracket area. And then this back here, I just had this put in just in case I decide to add any more accessories to the tank. It's easy to just pop that out. And I was talking about the heat bracket. I don't like how these enclosures are made, how they have this flush up against the enclosure. And in fact, I changed out one of my other ones that I had gotten from this style to that Arcadia heat bracket. Let me get the UVBs in here. Yeah, I highly recommend switching to PVC if you can make it work. Obviously it's, I just put a lot of water in there soaking up that substrate, so it's gonna be pretty foggy in there for a while, but it's good for the animals. And since I'm in here, got 3 juvenile spotted turtles in here. Let me get my 3 adult female spotted turtles in here. Haven't laid eggs for a while. I had a lot of eggs early in the year. This year I hatched 27. Had a couple die during the hatching process. And then I had some eggs that were infertile. And here I got 3 more adult females. Yeah, and I did switch out, I don't know if I talked about it in another video, I switched back over to mechanical filters. Just stays so much cleaner. And I've got my male spots in here. Again, well, the heat lamp is on this side, but I do swap them back and forth. Of course, they're probably both underneath here. Probably fighting at each other through the barrier. Got one of my adult spings in here. Here she is right there. I don't know if the lighting's gonna pick any of her. There she is. She's a little chunky. I've been trying to, well, I have been cutting back their food. 2 adult females just will eat and eat and eat. Here's a new spang that I got earlier in the year. And I actually do have a water dish that's here, but it was starting to get bacteria growth in it, so I actually bleached it out, and now I'm just kind of rinsing it out, making sure none of that bleach residue is left behind before I put it back in there, making sure that whatever was growing in there, and whatever it was, I switch out my water every other day. It was like a goo. See, it grew. I mean, I got this same size as that other ones that you saw that I just put in the video earlier, and got great growth. Now this one, when I bought it, did have an extra skew. It's got something wrong right there, but it doesn't affect its health at all. Got some awesome growth out of it. Here's another one of my females, my adults. And then in here, I've got a couple of Florida box turtles in here that I'm growing out. And this one here, I've been debating whether to put either he or her in with those adults. It's about 2 years old now. Getting pretty close in size. Not quite there with weight. And I got one on this other side too. That's quite a bit smaller than this one. So this one definitely on this side here won't go. But this one, I know within the year it will go over with the adults. And I'm hoping it's a female, because the males are peeing in the butt. I like to keep the males with the females, and outside it's a little bit better because the females have more area to get away, but inside the males are just relentless with them, and the one male in particular is way too aggressive. So those are those setups here. I can go out here and show you my little spotted setup I have here. So I do have 5 hatchlings out here. I just turned my heat lamp off too. Getting time to shut the lights off at night. Got a couple of female betas in here now. This adult, that other male beta finally died. Get tons of guppies in there. Bunch of platies now too. I tried some catfish in there, and I don't know if they died or I accidentally siphoned them up by mistake. You can see a couple of babies right there. I mean, they're like 3 months old now. There's 5 of them in here. I don't intend on keeping them. But they are fun to watch in here when they're little. I mean, these are majority of this on top, other than, I mean, this plastic stuff. That brighter green stuff is all live plants. I think it's part of the reason why the baby turtles like it so much, and of course the fish love it too. So that's just a quick little update from me, and